These were the last cloves of my German red. I just harvested them this morning, so I'm gonna let them cure before I mess with them. So I'm gonna just set those aside for now. So we're gonna open the box and I'll show you some of the garlic that's already been curing, and I'll show you how I'm gonna process it for storage. Hopefully there's no big spiders in here. I haven't opened this in a while. So this is, I'd say, and I've been collecting some garlic here and there as we go, just for fresh cooking and eating. But this is, I would say, half of the garlic that I've harvested. I took the scapes off some of the garlic that is still in the garden of the hardneck varieties, and so that I'm just gonna let go a little longer before I harvest. Let's see which pile is which. So here's my California Early, and the heads on these, so far all the garlic that I've harvested, the heads on them are pretty small, so I don't think our soil is still quite conducive to growing big heads of garlic. But nevertheless, I had planted, I believe it was 150 cloves, so 150 small cloves is still a pretty good amount. So here's how they look. They're getting nice and dry. Their skins on them are dry. So I'm going to take my scissors and trim off these roots, and then I'm also going to trim off the stalk, maybe to about right here. I feel like I always put y'all in a precarious spot. But anyways, we'll start with this California Early. So all I'm going to do is just pull all these roots down like that. And I'm just going to cut them. We don't have climate control or anything like that, and it gets up into the 90s in the camper. We don't have a root cellar, cold storage. Alright, so I've got them all trimmed, and now I've got this little scrubby brush, and the only thing I use this brush for is like vegetables, so it's considered clean in my book. But all I'm going to do is take my garlic and just kind of scrub just some of that dirt that's on there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll just get it as clean as we can. Like that, and then I'll put it in my bag. And you can see some of these garlics didn't really get a lot of outer skin. You can just see the cloves individual, and I don't really know why that is. Trim off these roots that I missed. So I'm just going to go through here, and I'm sitting in the shade. This garlic smells so good. I'm just going to work through and just rinse and repeat. So there's what California Early I got left. Like I said, I've been harvesting this as I go for cooking and whatnot, because it was the first one that was ready to be harvested. So it doesn't look like I have very much right there, does it? I lost a lot of my California Early garlic because I heavily mulched it, and then this spring when it was trying to come out, I didn't realize that the mulch was way too heavy, and so it just couldn't come up, so I lost some. But there's my California Early. Alright, now let's work on the German red. So here's my German red, and again, these cloves are pretty small. Some of them don't have good outer skin, and this isn't all of it. Like I said, I've been harvesting some of our garlic to use for cooking and whatnot. So I'm just going to do the same process like I did with the California Early, and I'll spare you on that, and then we'll come back when it's all done. All done, and I'll show you what we got here. It's not a whole lot, and I think that's because I still have some out. No, that's not true. Yep, this is all of it, and again, small heads, but something's better than nothing, right? And there is still garlic out in the garden, so maybe we'll go peek at that really quick. And these guys I harvested earlier. This was also German red. This was the last of it. So I'm going to let these hang out in this box. Let's see, I need to be able to close it. So I'm going to let these hang out in this box for at least a few days so they can cure. And then we'll do the same thing with them. But let's walk out to the garden really quick and I'll show you what garlic remains. I've got my umbrella to help with the sun, and my hair is wet. Moose and I got in the creek a little while earlier. But let me turn the camera around and we'll look at the garlic. if I can get by this cushaw squash. I don't want to step on it. Excuse me. So right here was where that German red garlic was growing. And like I said, I had harvested those last few bulbs earlier today. So that bed is empty, and in its place I have transplanted in a Turk's turban squash. And he's looking a little dry right now, but it's the middle of the heat of the day, so that's that. Then we'll go up to the main garlic row, which is up there. So let's go up there. Okay, here's the main garlic row. I'll just pan down. As you can see, the middle of this row, which used to be the California Early, now has a whole bunch of other stuff in it. But you can see along the right side of the bed right here, I've still got some garlic. This whole row all the way down is just finishing up. I cut the scapes off a few days ago, maybe a week ago. So I'm not sure when I'm going to harvest these, but I think some of them are already needing to be harvested. Like this one right here, this little buddy, he's done flopped over. So whenever I can get a chance to get out here, I'll get those harvested. Along the left-hand side of the bed, there's really not much garlic left either. So I've harvested some of these. There's just a few left. So as soon as I can get a minute and get out here, I guess I need to get these harvested, because like that one right there, the whole thing's brown, so it's ready to come out. I might have waited a little too long. But so anyway, in this bed, I've got all kinds of other stuff. Right here's a lemon squash, beets, green beans. Down here's a bunch of green beans. And then in here, I've still got a couple carrots left. I harvested some of them the other day to make us some food. And then at the end of this bed, James built me a really tall cucumber trellis, which is super cool. And I've got 2 cucumbers in there, so. Oh, and there's some dill behind it right there. Alright, it is now July 1st. Happy July. And I went ahead and harvested the rest of the garlic that we had growing in the garden. And I've got it laid out on the table right here. So let's flip the camera around and I'll show you what we got. First off, this was all that was left of the German Extra Hardy. I have been harvesting some of that already, so there weren't many cloves left. And then over here, this is the Chesnock red garlic that we planted. And I would say out of all the 4 varieties that we grew, this one did the best. I don't think I would go back and grow any of the other varieties that we tried. I mean, maybe I'll try them again at some point, but these ones did really good, and we actually got some decent heads on them. So I was really happy with this, because some of my other garlics, the harvests weren't that great. The California Early did not do well, and I think that was my fault. But these are some beautiful heads. So I've just got them sitting out here on the picnic table. And this is the shadiest, most ventilated spot that I have. So I'm going to let them sit here as long as it's not raining and let them cure up. Our garlic! Up here is where I've been finishing out, and I guess really just storing my garlic for now. I need to do something with it. But here's the German red, y'all saw me clean. And then right here is the California Early. So we've got that garlic, and then over here. So then right here on the wood stove, this is what I've been drawing from because it's the oldest. I pulled it first. As you can see, it doesn't have any, like really no outer skin. And the tops when I harvested these were just brown, like completely brown. So I've been eating these first. I mean, they're good sized cloves, but the outside paper had already started to decompose. I left them too long. But anyway, so I've been eating these raw, and they are delicious. Really not too spicy either.